Hello, everyone, and welcome to the YouTube Mall Builders Thursday night general hangout. Thursday's hangouts are for the general discussion on mall railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. My name is Johnny Reb from Southeast Rails. Thursday's hangouts are the proud sponsor of the YouTube Mall Builders, the Tuesday night presentations, eMag, and the YouTube Mall Builders live show. The eMag's bi-monthly, comes out every other month. It just came out. Another good issue on signaling. The Tuesday night hangouts are every other month. We have another one coming up, this month? I think it is on the 12th of this month. So you want to look out for that one. And, of course, we have the live show with Big Bill and Barry. That's the third Saturday of every month. I want to say thanks for joining in tonight's show. Tonight we have Phil, Jim, Hawks, Chris, and Andy sitting on the panel. And we also got the Q&A open, so everyone that's in the Q&A, if you have a question or a comment, post it up there. We'll get it out, see if we can answer the questions or spark an argument or two or interest in the comments. So, Phil, now that you got a camera on the workbench, how's your distillery coming?
Oh, it's going along. Just doing some fine tuning. Got an inside wall that I'm having problems trying to line up. It's a DPM kit. The instructions aren't the greatest, in my opinion, Take that for what it's worth. They're alright. It's just a couple things that were confusing. But the kit fits good. I like it compared to some of the other ones. It's got a 3-level part here, 2-story, 3-story, and so.
No, that's not your standard DPM kit, is it? Isn't it?
No, it's one of their gold line kits. It come with 50 white metal detail castings, steps, railing, lights, pipes, wires. But the main plastic part, it's still the same brick that they typically use in their buildings.
Yeah. Now, did you paint that red inside?
No, that's the original color.
Really?
Yeah. The original color was this red. The windows were a cream-colored white. And I opted for cream-colored outside with gray sash. It's an older style building, so my layout, the story behind it is it was an old building that's been modified, brought up to 1970 standards, and it's got a fresh coat of gray paint, or this cream-colored paint over the whole outside. But
yeah,
there'll be a few spots where I'm gonna go in and sand off maybe a couple corners or something to give it a little effect, where the paint has come off on some of the old brick, and it'll show through. When I get done, it'll be weathered, fairly good.
All right, now I'm looking here on camera. It looks like I've watched you when you're building it. What happened to my camera? Anyway, all right, going back to presenting, huh? I guess my camera just went belly up.
No.
But anyway, it looks like you got a step there that each wall fits into, or is that just what I'm looking at?
This here? This
Yeah,
part?
the corner? No, in the corner there, like.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a wall section with either a narrow or a wide pillar called it, I think, in the instruction. And so, like, this one wall was all built as one. This wall was built all as one. This wall was separate. This wall back here and this wall. So all three of those walls went together before it goes in here.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, now apparently what there's pieces that match the brick that get glued all on the inside around here. So there's going to be, about the height of this top part, because this was a separate piece here.
Yeah, you need a little bit out of camera there because it's so tall.
Okay.
Oh, now we got it.
These pieces here that go along the top, these were separate pieces from here to there. So there's just a brick pattern that gets glued to the inside, all the way around inside these. And then the roof will fit in through the bottom and gets glued to the inside edges of those.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then there's, a separate roof that'll be in here and in this section. And then also this tunnel portal where the boxcars come in. There's like this fits in here so that it gets decorated on the inside.
Yeah.
And then there's this one with the freight door that'll go in here. And then there's roofing that goes inside there too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which in the kit it's just black paper. Construction paper basically.
Uh-huh.
And I have some brick styrene that I'll probably paint up and actually put a styrene roof in there. Even though, you'd have to get down and look up inside to see it. It'll make me feel better knowing that it's there rather than just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far in the viewers, hey Curtis and Dwight. I guess Dwight's having issues again, so he's over in the Q&A.
Yeah.
But, Dwight, Curtis, we got room on the panel. Either one of you want to come on in.
I want to mention, John, I had a heck of a time with Google Hangouts today. I had to download and install Google Chrome, and then even then I had a problem getting in with Google Chrome, but I was able to finally get in today. So anybody that's not being able to get into a Hangout, maybe try Google Chrome. I couldn't get it to work with Firefox nor Explorer.
Yeah.
The window would open up, the screen would just stay black and just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, I want to do a refresh real quick just to see, because my camera went out.
Well, welcome back, Johnny.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to be doing a show without a camera.
Oh, great.
Yeah, well, everybody else got something more interesting going on anyway, so. What you working on tonight, Mr. Hawks?
Oh, doing a little bit of finishing touches on different projects. I've been out for a week with a back spasm, so this is my first day back. So doing little touch-ups here and there.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad to see you're doing better.
Yeah, still have that pain, but it's going okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my son flies down to Florida, and I get a phone call last night. He gets real sick. I thought I was going to have to go down and get him, but he called me today. He said he's doing better. He planned on just flying back Sunday.
Well, I did learn something this week. I was using the turnouts in Silifrog. There's Electrofrog, and what's the other one?
Oh,
Insulfrog.
Insulfrog, that's it. So that's what I've been using since last year, and somehow I made a mistake of buying about 20 turnouts Electrofrogs. I was wondering why I was getting shorts. There was nonstop like sparks, and to find out that I ordered the wrong turnouts.
oh,
So now I had to figure out how to make it work, and I was on the phone with somebody from Ohio, and he was explaining to me everything. So I got lots of work to do in the coming weeks.
so you're not interested in putting them on eBay, selling them, and just ordering the right ones?
I did a search this morning, different hobby shops, and they're very rare. It's the SL 88 and 89, and they're like the biggest shop. What is it? Model Train. One of the big.
All train stuff.
Yeah, they. I think they had one of one and none of the other.
Yeah.
And I checked here in Canada. Nobody's got them. So I don't know if there's a shortage or what.
Huh.
Oh, buddy.
So I'll just figure out how to insulate
Yeah.
all the turnouts. I guess this is just another learning curve.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Jim,
Yes.
you had a new project this week. You want to tell us what you were doing?
Yeah, this is called a master mold. And what you do is you take a piece of styrene. Let's see if I can reach it. Take a piece of styrene and you tape your part that you want to make a mold of down. Some double-sided, real thin stuff. And then you take the Woodland Scenic latex rubber. It's a 16-ounce bottle. And you paint it on this with a paintbrush. I did 2 semi-thin layers. You do 1 layer, I waited over 8 hours. I did another layer, waited 8 hours. Then for the 3rd layer, I put on a light layer, and then I took some gauze, and I separated the gauze so I only had one. I don't know if I can get this to separate now. There we go. Then I took some gauze, separated so I had 1 layer like a cheesecloth, and I cut a piece to fit all the way around it, all the way down to the styrene base plate there that I'm stuck to. So I did 2 light layers, let them dry, and then I did a 3rd light layer, laid the gauze down, and put another heavy layer right away, right over the top to completely cover the gauze. Then I let that dry, and then I did another 5th layer, so that's basically 5 layers. And then what I did was I dammed it up by using some styrene strips, and all I did was just use blue or green painter's tape to make me a box around this, basically, 4 sides. Use tape to tape it all up. Then I mixed up some plaster Paris, 2 to 1, 1 part water, 2 parts plaster Paris, and filled the box up, which would have left me something like this with sides on it. Once it dried, then I just took the sides off that I had taped on there, which left me a brick looking like this. Now, now when I mold, the mold is sitting in its own base, and your mold keeps its perfect shape each time. I had a heck of a time getting that to release out of here, and I mean, I really, in fact, I had to take a putty knife, get it down here on the edge, and I just kept working it back and forth, get this end to come up a little bit, and then I was able to come over here on this side and work it up a little bit and get up underneath it to get it released. It took me a heck of a time getting that original casting out. So that's what it looks like. That's your master mold. There's my rubber mold. The first two I molded, again, I had a problem getting them out of here, so I took some no-name brand baking spray that said it had flour in it. I had one that said butter and one said with flour, so I used the one with flour. Kind of sprayed a light coat around in here. And I took a napkin and I dabbed off any wet spots I had left in there. You can see it's a little discolored in there. So far, this is my second one I've done since I've added that. Well, there's my original mold. And it's real flexible. My very first one, I broke a piece off, but I just took some white glue and glued it back on. This corner, this corner is the one that broke on me here. Let's see. Yeah, this is the corner. Just one little corner broke, and I fixed it, so I'm making sure I put my finger on there and pressing it down. And I come around on this side, put my thumb on it, press it down. And it's a real nice, flexible mold. My end product looks nice and neat. All the little crevices in the stone. These are bridge abutments. But again, the master's mold, and this is a tip I got from Miles Hale, is to make your master mold. So, because if I set this down and started pouring plaster in it, the sides would bow down on you. This would bow down, this might bow down a little bit. So the master mold keeps it in shape the way you want it as you pour in and let your plaster dry. So that's the purpose of the master mold. Now this side here keeps bowing up on me just a little bit, but when I pour the plaster down, I just hold it for a couple of minutes and it stays down real good. But that's the project I've been working on all week. I'm sure everybody knows how to mix plaster and pour plaster, so I won't bore you with that. But
Well, I mean, have you used wet water spray the mold with that and then pour your plaster in there?
yeah, I sprayed Windex in here. You know, I just kind of held it sideways and sprayed Windex and then kind of shook off the excess and then laid it down in here. I didn't want to spray Windex in here, of course, because I didn't want this to get soft.
Yeah.
Like I say, I use that cooking spray, and you can kind of see it's an off color. I don't know if the camera's really showing it, but
yeah.
This one I just pulled out was real time. And it was, man, that was a lot easier to get out than the other 3 that I molded. I've got 8 of these to do. Well, I'm going to do 10, so I have a couple backups in case they break because I got to cut some down. So in case I break them or in case I don't like the way I'm coloring them when I first start painting them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a couple extra, but yeah, this is what I used to pry in here.
Yeah.
To get that other piece out. Well, for my master mold, when I first did the master mold, it was a real pain it didn't want to release, but I could move the camera and mix up some plaster and pour it if you want to, if anybody's interested in that. But
Oh, yeah. You need to make a bunch of them.
yeah, I gotta do another one. I can do one an hour. It takes about, once I have it mixed and poured in there, an hour later I can pop it out. I'm letting them sit. I'm letting them sit to dry. Where are they at there?
Yeah.
There we go. So I'm letting them dry good. The only thing I noticed is, now this one here is a little thicker than one of the other ones, but it's how much plaster you're pouring in, obviously. So you
Yeah.
got to pay attention to that. Make it just a little bit wet so you can get a nice even blow over the top. Give it a little shake.
Yeah.
Tap it a couple of times, and she levels out good. If you let it get too thick, then you've got to take a piece of plastic and slide it across like that.
Yeah.
So that your back's fairly level. But
Yeah, leveling out. Dwight said very nice, Jim.
oh, thank you, Dwight. So if you want me to mix them up and pour it, I can do that, I guess.
I'll leave that up to you if you want.
Yeah, I'll do it. If you
Keep
ain't got nothing else
making
going
them.
on.
Yeah. Also, Hogs, Dwight said he found some Pico turnouts on Amazon.
Oh, that's true. I didn't check Amazon nor did I check eBay.
All right, I found this for this one here. Exactly 1/2 cup water, 1 cup of plaster. Leaves just about perfect. No extra left over.
Big Bill says after it dries, can you sand them to fit the place where you want to put them?
Well, yeah, you can sand them, cut them with the saw. Pretty much do anything you want with them. They're all too tall for my application, so I'm going to be what I'm going to try to do is take the razor jeweler saw that I used for everything else around here and just measure how high I got to have them. Because I don't know if you can see this spot right here. Yeah. One's going here, but it's too tall. So I'm going to have to cut it down to fit. So I'll just draw a line across the back and use the razor saw to cut it off. But it's plaster, so you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. Then if you mess up, just mold you another one.
Yep.
I put about half of it in to start. Works for me. Then a paint stick. I tilt the bowl from side to side, look for lumps. Most people can mix plaster. And I like measuring because this is all I'm doing. I hate to waste a lot of, not that plaster's expensive, but I like to have it measured to pretty much fit the mold without a lot of leftovers.
Yeah. Well, you're only doing one thing anyway, so.
Right.
And you only have the one mold, so, you know.
Right. And this stuff dries so fast, sets up so fast, even with cold water.
Yeah, because even if after an hour, whatever's in that tub is going to be just as hard as what's in the mold.
Yep.
All right, Big Bill's got another one up here. Do you use Do you use a left-handed cup or a right-handed cup when you measure out the plaster? I
These are my
prefer,
these are
I,
my these are my wife's measure cups. They're all left-handed.
I prefer the right-handed myself, and it does it dry faster when you use the left-handed cup.
Yeah, it does. See, now it's setting up on me quick. I got to add just a tad. Well, maybe I don't have to add water. Let's see here. The left-handed cups make it the plaster dry faster for some reason, but I couldn't find my right-handed measure cups, Bill, so I'm having to use the wife's. I don't know if you guys can see that mold or not. There we go.
Yeah, there you can.
Yeah. This started setting up on me a little quick, but I like to make it a thin pancake batter. Don't worry if you got lumps in there. Oh, I forgot to spray my Windex. I got in a hurry.
Just got one of those ambidextrous cups. That way you can dry either fast or slow.
Yeah, I know. I should have. Yeah, it's setting up too fast for me there. Just shake it back and forth. She'll fill her up. She's going to be a little over full, darn it. Give it some taps, take the air bubble out. That seems to be sitting down good. So now this one's going to be just a hair bit thicker than the other ones. Well, maybe not. It looks like it's pretty right.
Well, you can always sand the back of it anyway. So.
Well, and you're putting it up against whatever you're putting it up against. So, I mean, it's going to be sitting up against this, and I'm going to build mountains from here back and from down here up. So
Yeah, you're out of frame.
Oh, I gotta change my frame. I'm gonna be putting it up against this, and I'm gonna have, the hill starting back here coming up to this, and then the mountain continuing from here going back. So I can pretty much build around it anyways, even if it's a little thick.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to sand the back too much. But now we can check back on this in about 45 minutes, and I'll be able to pop this out. Now, what I was trying to do earlier was make some river rocks. Is that in frame? Yeah, I put some drops on here to make some river rocks. And a couple of them didn't turn out too bad. So I might try that. I might try making a bunch of river rocks. River rocks are smooth, and I didn't have any smooth rocks, so.
You still got a little plaster left in the tub, ain't you?
Yeah, it's starting to set up. I need to go rinse it off quick before
Curtis, look in the comments. The link is in the comments. You'll have to right at the bottom of the comment. You'll say read more. Click on that, and it'll show you the panel link. Big Bill's got on here, could you use a hair dryer to set on a low setting to speed up the drying process?
Well, last year when I was doing my rocks, I just put a fan on it. Had a fan blowing over across the top. But this 2-to-1 that I've been doing, like I say, 45 minutes to an hour, and you're already popping it out. So I don't know how much faster you can get it to dry. I mean,
Well,
I'm washing my bowl out, so.
yeah. Instead of watching that dry, I noticed Chris over here. Saw you sanding on something, Chris. What was you sanding on?
I was sanding on some cork road bed.
Oh, okay. Taking that rough edge off.
Yeah, I just take the cork and I sand all the edges. Last time I built a layout, I didn't do that, and I was sorry later on, so kind of time consuming and a pain, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah. So you're starting to lay cork tonight?
Yeah, actually, well, continuing. I'm doing last couple nights I've been working over here. I'm just coming off the helix where it's going to transition from code 100 to code 83. I just put the first piece of track in tonight right here.
Uh-huh.
Everything back from there back on the helix is code 100. This is going to be code 83 for the main layout. This is where the layout scenery actually is going to start. Everything behind there is just the helix. That won't be scenic or anything. So.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, I
actually
did
did
notice,
some,
of course, you didn't have your camera like this before, but you let that helix kind of come up just a little bit above your baseboard for the main line. Looks like.
yeah, actually there's right here there's a half-inch difference. This is the end of the plywood for the, I'll just move the camera here, it might be easier to see.
You got to go down.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'll just set this down and grab the camera.
All right, that's it. We got it. You're good. No,
Okay.
you're still on the
Oh, I see.
tripod.
I'm not using that camera. That's just for the mic. All right, so right here the plywood stops. But there's no, the track is right to the plywood here. There's no road bed or anything in the helix.
Yeah.
So I took the next piece of plywood and lapped it underneath this one. Well, that leaves a half-inch height difference. So I took this 1/4-inch thick pink foam, that fan fold type foam, and then the road bed is about a 1/4-inch thick. So what I'm going to do is I glued down the foam, and now I'm gluing down the cork. And then I'm going to come back with a knife and cut this foam off. That'll give me a nice deep shoulder for the edge of the road bed.
Yeah.
You know, rather than just the cork height, it'll be double the height of the cork. It'll give you more of a deeper ditch along the side. So this is actually where the scenery is going to begin, going this way toward the camera.
Yeah, but that also kind of helped out on transitioning off the helix anyway.
Yeah. So right here, what I did is I took this is code 100, and then from here on is code 83, and I actually tried something I never did before. Instead of buying those pieces of transition track, I just took some joiners, and I took my Dremel and cut down into it, everything except the bottom of the joiner. And then when I connected them together, I just took my needle nose pliers and just bent it up a little so the top of the rails were even, and then I soldered it. Worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
So if anybody needs to do code 100 to code 83, there's a quick, simple way to do it.
Yeah, you might want to take a few pictures as you go along on that and post them so you see how you cut it down.
Let me switch to my other camera and I might be able to get a close-up of it for you. Here we go. Let me hit save. It's not really focusing too well, but you can actually, if you see the silver part of the joiner below the solder, you can see how one's a little higher than the other.
Yeah.
So I basically cut the tops and the side of the joiner. I cut a groove, just cut a little notch with the Dremel so that only the bottom of the joiner was left. And then once you put them together and just kind of crimp it with your needle nose pliers, it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's level before you solder it.
Yep. Okay.
Other than that, I've been up to just putting in my upper deck now. Got it in up to there. I've got to go for another sheet of plywood to fill that gap. Then I'll be that far around that corner. Go a little bit farther, right about where the wall disappears.
Yeah.
Behind the cabinet, that's that's going to be where the summit is, and it's going to start going downhill all the way till they come back down to this hell in a yard. I'm trying to get the bench work done and the track in up to the summit in the next 2 months, and then maybe this summer I'll tear out the old layout in the other room and start doing the bench work in there.
Well, you're getting close to the home stretch.
Yeah.
On that part.
Yeah, I was just about to glue this cork down, and I realized this piece of foam behind me here isn't glued down yet because I ran out of latex. The corner one is, but then there's one right here that's not, so which is just about at the end of my cork where I have it now. So I guess that'll have to be another night. I got plenty of other stuff to work on. I'll just get this piece of track in up to here yet tonight, just about up to where the computer is sitting. One more 3-foot piece here, and then tie that one into the Code 83 just like I did for that one. Then I'll be at a standstill too. I gotta order another. I don't have any more tracks, so I'll have to order some up. Code 83 just like I did for that one.
Hey, John, if you want to present me again.
Standstill too. I gotta order another. I don't have any more tracks.
Curtis, we're getting TV or something in the background. If you could mute your mic.
10 better?
Curtis, we're getting TV background. If you could mute your mic. Yeah, there you go.
You got me presented, John?
Yeah.
I just wanted to show that it's only been, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, about that.
That's already not going to spill out. It's already hard in about 10 minutes. So
Yeah,
just showed them they got to make sure their mold's ready to go and get them poured because it doesn't take long for it to set up. The warmer the water, I guess, the faster it'll set. Also, and I use cold water. I have a well here, so
yeah, that cold.
it's cold, and it's cold outside too. So
Yeah.
in northern Michigan, but okay, I just wanted to show how that's set up already. About 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, here's a little tip. Something I like to do for guys when you're laying track is I keep one set of used joiners that I use when I'm test fitting the track, and then when I put it in finally for good, then I use a pair of brand new joiners because they're tighter. So I just keep this one pair of joiners handy just for test fitting track as I go and marking it where I want to lay it down, and then otherwise time you take joiners on and off a couple times, they start getting loose. You really don't. I like to not use the ones I'm going to use for good.
And Chris, how did those N scale joiners work for you using it on the HO track?
Oh, they work great.
Yeah, little tip for anybody. The Atlas N scale joiners work great on the Atlas HO track. They're a little tight to get them on there, but they definitely hold tight and they're smaller.
Yeah, they're way less obtrusive. I did all the Code 83 track I did down in the hill in the yard was all done with those. Up on the helix here, I just used the Code 100, but
Yeah. Big Bill's got a question for you there, Chris. That is plywood with foam, then cork road bed, right?
yes. But it's only 1/4-inch foam. That was just to make up the height difference because I'm using 1/2-inch plywood, so it's a 1/2-inch drop. Actually, I'm going to show you. Let me grab something and show you else that I was going to try out here. I found this foam road bed. I was actually going to buy some until I realized I had almost 150 feet of cork, so I'm going to use that up first. But There's a guy on eBay selling this stuff, and it's pretty reasonably priced, and it's really nice. It's a thicker, firm foam. It's not soft like the Woodland Scenic stuff. He sells it on eBay. It's called Sound Tracks or Soundtrack Foam or something like that. But if you go into a comment section on any one of his auctions and send him your address, he'll send you a free sample. I'm actually probably going to use this stuff. It's a little wider than the foam, but it's also got a nicer bevel and seems to bend pretty good.
Yeah.
So, just a suggestion if anybody's trying to figure out what they want to use for roadbed.
Yeah.
Does that have a score? Excuse me, John. Does that have a score line down the center of it, Chris?
No, it doesn't. That's the only thing is you have to mark it on the outside. Probably have to mark 2 lines rather than 1 down the center.
No, I meant for splitting it, for doing tight corners, like the Woodland Scenics has a place where to cut it down the center.
No, this will actually bend a fairly tight radius, he claims. I haven't glued it down to try it yet, but just setting it down on a flat sheet of plywood, you can actually bend it fairly tightly.
Yeah. See, I used the Woodland Scenics on my layout, and I had to split it around corners to get it so it wouldn't pucker. 18
How tight
degree.
the radius is?
18 degree.
Okay, that's probably why. I don't have any that are going to be quite that small. Yeah, if you're going to go 18, then you probably want to use something you can split.
I had 4 foot to turn around and do 180 degrees, so I had to go 18.
Yeah, then this might not work for you.
Right.
Now, you say, how thick is that stuff, Chris? Is that 3/16 like everything else, or?
It's actually a true 1/4 inch.
It's a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, where the cork is just a little bit under. I actually had to shim it up right here at the joint with a little bit of plastic shim stock, just because the foam was a 1/4, but the cork wasn't quite. So.
Right, 3/16 I think is what the cork is actually. So it's a 1/16 thinner. The foam is.
Yeah.
The Woodland Scenics foam is 3/16 also, I believe. Now you say you're using cork right now?
Yeah, right now I am, just to use up what I have. I got like 50 3-foot pieces. I didn't realize I had that much, so I went digging the other day. It's like, wow. Rather than spend the money on that, I'll use up the cork between here and the summit. And after there's a tunnel at the summit, once I come out the tunnel on the other side, then I'll start using that foam probably.
Now you got to split that in half and spin them around to get your 2 beveled edges. So you have to sand one of those bevels.
Yeah,
on the cork. Have you? I didn't try it, but I was just thinking about that today. And I've got all my cork laid. Maybe take a razor knife and split it using a razor knife, and it might cut that burr off where you don't have to sand it.
Yeah, it's little chunks of rubber and mixed in with the cork, and I tried that. I mean, I use the knife I don't just tear it, I use the knife to finish cutting through it. Okay. But it still leaves all those little pieces.
Does it? Okay.
Because it's half rubber. I think if you go up the Midwest, there's a lot more cork, but this is some cheaper cork, and it has a lot more rubber than cork in it.
Oh, okay. I use Midwest on all my cork. But I didn't think to use a razor knife to try trimming it, cutting it in half, instead of just ripping it in half like I did.
Yeah, that's what I used to do too. And then I didn't sand it either, and then I found out I'd end up having, little high spots and low spots and whatnot. It just turned. And then when you go to ballast, if there's little chunks all on the corner, that I found it's better just to hit it with a sander while it's off.
Right. If you don't hit it with a sander, it uses more ballast in order to make your nice level bevel down.
Well, if you want a nice, kind of a shoulder, but then you got rough chunks of cork sticking up because you didn't sand it.
Right.
Then it actually keep you from, because you're only going to be one or 2 pieces of ballast thick really on there, unless you just dump a ton of it on there.
Right. Well, my plans it's going to take a little longer, but to take a paintbrush and paint 100% white glue not watered down, along my beveled edges, and then sprinkle my ballast on it, then vacuum up the excess after it dries. Then I'll spread the ballast between the tracks and spread it out
Well,
with
let me.
the diluted glue, and then when that dries, vacuum that up. That way my beveled edges there they stay nice and neat and not ballast all over the place.
Well, here's one for you. Go buy that those little 99-cent bottles of acrylic paint, and figure out what color you want that would match your roadbed in case a couple pieces of ballast gets sucked off by the vacuum or something. And that's what I do. I just take a brush and I paint it on thick, and I sprinkle the ballast in while it's wet. And that I just do that down the two shoulders first.
Right.
Let it dry overnight, come back the next day, and then that actually creates a little dam on each side, so when you're sprinkling your ballast in the middle, and then you sprinkle the ballast in the middle, maybe touch up the edges a little bit down below where you painted, and then you hit it with your, well, I use matte medium instead of white glue. That's just for personal preference.
Chris?
Yep.
Dwight's got a couple of comments here. Chris, do you offset your joints so there is not a joint at the same point on both rails?
Not
Make one rail
intentionally.
longer.
Yeah, I tend to not do that, just because you have to cut off more ties when you're working with flex track. You got to end up, you always cut off at least one tie on the end. And if you end up cutting two or three, then you have a big, long section of a big joint that's got a bigger than normal gap. You got to put filler ties in there later on, but I try not to. I mean, that, and if you decide that you want to put a isolation block, if you want to put a gap there or something for making blocks, you can put in a plastic washer or whatever right away too.
Yeah. He had another comment. Greg at Fish Plate Films did not have good luck. He said Greg at Fish Plate Films did not have good luck with the thin foam he used. That was Dwight's comment. But Greg's got real high humidity, and that's the reason why Greg had problems with the foam road bed.
That was also the Woodland Scenics product, which is a lot spongier than talking about. I've seen that on eBay, that what Chris is talking about, and it looks to me to be closer to HomaBed, that Homasoap based product, than it does to the foam. Woodland Scenics uses is really spongy, and that's supposed to be that stuff he's using there is supposed to be pretty dense.
Yeah, it is. I actually thought about it before buying any. I went and did a little research, and there's companies out there that sell this foam in bulk. I ordered some samples and found the stuff that's almost exactly the same, and I thought, all right, maybe I'll just cut my own. But after trying to cut it nice and neat like his is, I decided, no, I'll just buy his instead of making my own. But I was actually looking into, I could do it for about 10 cents a foot, basically, make it yourself. You can't come close to that buying anything.
Yeah, because with the Woodland Scenics, another problem you got is when you're tacking your track down, if you hit it a little too hard, the foam gives and you push the track down.
Yeah, let me, I've got a couple shorter pieces. Let me grab those and I'll show you how firm it really is.
Being the viewers out there got comments and questions, feel free to post them in the comments section.
And if you're going to use nails, you might all stick with cork or HomaBed, or some other kind of thing. But if you're gluing it down or caulking it down, the way I've always used T-pins to hold it in place, but always kind of glued it down. Used to with white glue and sometimes CA, like I like to CA around turnouts. You know, they kind of get springy in the middle of the turnout, so I hold the turnout down and glue it on each side of the frog with CA. If you're and I always use white glue, but now everybody's caulking flex track, and I would probably be caulking flex track down if I didn't hand lay. But I never liked using nails. But if you're using nails, you might want to use cork or something. The problem with nails is that it transfers the sound from your track through your roadbed into your wood and makes everything so doggone loud, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having a roadbed. So you really ought to glue or caulk or use some kind of adhesive to glue your track down there.
Yeah.
All right, let me grab the camera here.
Yeah, my last layout, I used that liquid nails for projects, and I was told that stuff was easy to lift up your track if you make a mistake or anything. Forget it. You go to lift up your track, you might as well just rip it all up.
Yeah, I would. I use liquid nails for projects to glue foam together with, and it's very persistent. It lasts. However, gluing track down, I always use white glue. For years, I used white glue for flex track. I'd use TP and some white glue, and then if you want to peel your track up down before you ballasted it, you could always throw a piece of flex track in the bathtub with some hot water and soap. In a few minutes, your flex track was as clean as anything. The white glue would break up with water, but I don't know if I'd do that today. I'm not sure. I mean, I hand lay track now, so I don't use flex track.
Yeah, Chris is showing the foam.
See, there's he's got black and gray, by the way, but I put a locomotive on here. It doesn't go down at all. And I'm actually pushing down right now. It's hard to see. I'll back up so you can actually watch me. I'm actually pushing down really hard on that locomotive to the point where the shell is moving on the frame, and yet that foam is hardly moving.
Yeah, it's as rigid as cork. And
the only thing that's moving is this unsupported end out here on the track.
Yeah.
You see me pushing down, like I said, it's hard to tell, but I'm pushing down at least 4 or 5 pounds of pressure right now, plus the weight of that locomotive, and the only thing moving is this end out here. Yeah, it's soft. Here's another way to show you. Let's see if we can get it to focus here. Here's the locomotive right on the foam. I'm pushing down. That foam is hardly moving.
Yeah.
Have you used?
I can rock the locomotive, but if I push straight down, you don't see that foam denting really at all. Just a tiny, tiny bit. And that's just on the 6 wheels. Now, if you spread that out over all those ties, that's not going anywhere. There's just a couple tiny little dimples where the wheels were.
Yeah, hang on. Curtis, if you would, I'm getting a echo from you, so could you mute your mic, please?
Here's a screwdriver. Okay, this is just sitting here. Now I'm going to push down as hard as I can. And I mean, that's like seriously hard that I'm pushing it. It's, if this was glued down, it's kind of curling up on the outer edges just because I'm pushing down. But as you can see, the foam is hardly denting at all. Maybe a 1/16 of an inch.
No, I like that stuff, and all the comments on eBay are pretty fond of it. So.
Yeah, you're not going to have that kind of pressure on your track anyway.
And it's weird because if you squeeze it like between your fingers, you can see it's kind of compressing. But once it's down flat on something, and it just doesn't compress the same as if you're trying to squeeze it. But I mean, you're not saying you can't push into it, but yeah, you're not putting that kind of weight.
How about the sound deadening properties? Have you put a piece down and put a piece of track on it and run a train on it to see how the sound deadening is?
No, I haven't, but I'm imagining it's about as good a sound deadening as you're going to get. I don't know what you can do that. This actually is acoustical sound foam, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, that's why what Homosode is designed for is sound deadening. Cork is honestly not that great at sound deadening. It's what we use it for, but it's not really great at it.
I don't know if you can see, but look at how tight the grain is on there on that beveled edge where they cut it.
Yeah.
It's coming through, but I mean, those are tiny little cells. I mean, they're super tight.
It almost looks like a real tight closed cell memory foam.
It is a closed cell.
But I mean, it's almost like it's a memory foam. I'm watching you when you push it down, the way it's slowly springing back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's,
These are I got these two samples, like I said, I ordered right from a company to see if I could make my own, and they're almost identical. One of them is called Microcell, and the other one is called Velara. If you Google Velara on eBay, you'll find all kinds of it. But yeah, that's
How you spell that?
Volara.
Oh, Laura. Okay.
It's like they call it 2-pound foam. I think it literally takes 2 pounds before it starts to compress.
That's perfect for my Helix build. I
But
mean,
then you think about it, this locomotive is probably 2 pounds, but you spread that out when it's on a piece of track over about, well, let's see, 2, 4, 6, probably 25 ties. I mean, spreading out 2 pounds over 25 ties, even if it was 20, that'd be tenth of a pound per tie. There's no way.
I could be wrong, Chris, but I believe the 2-pound foam, they consider it's 2 pounds per so many square inches.
yeah, or
The weight of the
are
foam.
done that way, but that's not what I read specifically about that. I know what you're saying. But somebody else had that question on one of the foam websites, and yeah, that's one of it. One way is for measuring density, but in another case, in here it's for compression. When you start talking these closed cell foams.
And you can buy that, if you buy it in from Velara, does it come in like a roll, 36 inches wide or something like material?
Velara is actually the name of the foam. It's not the company.
Okay.
So if you, like I say, if you Google that, you'll find all kinds of everything from Chinese knockoff to stuff, all kinds of stuff right here in the U.S. And you can buy like anything up to. Generally, some of them will sell it by the yard, just like you'd buy carpet or fabric at the fabric store. 6 feet across by how many linear feet you want.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Or by the yard.
I like the idea of buying it in a sheet and cutting it with the same template I'm going to use to make my Helix components in a curve section, laying it into my Helix like that, where it has, where it'd be real wide, and cut it with the same template for my Masonite Helix panels.
Well, what I found was if you're gonna, it would work for doing it yourself and save you a ton of money if you're gonna go with straight edges like this.
Yep.
And I've seen guys that typically will make their own road bed like out of Homosote with a square edge, and then just fill in that bevel with whatever they decide to fill it in, either ballast, or smart guys will go ahead and get like that, what do you call that, paper mache type stuff.
Yeah, like segregated.
I can't remember the name of it. You go buy it at the craft store, and you can build your own shoulder up. But I found trying to cut these samples. In fact, here's a perfect example right here. When I cut it straight, perpendicular, it cut perfect and it cut like butter. But when I tried to cut this beveled edge, it started chunking on me like that. I couldn't get a good clean cut trying to. You see all the where it ripped and tore.
Probably need a hot wire.
And every time I cut straight down, it just cut perfect. As soon as I tried to cut at a 45-degree angle, or even a 30, which is what I was going for, is a more prototypical profile.
Yep.
And it just would not cut good. So I decided, well, I'll just buy the stuff from the guy.
What if
twice the cost.
You probably need a hot wire. Cut it with a hot wire to.
But if you made a jig, I was thinking make a big 4-foot jig that clamps it down, and then you just slide the knife across.
Oh yeah.
You could make a ton of it. I'm sure that's all the guy did that's selling this.
Well, sure. In my particular application, I hand lay tracks. So all my visible track is on Homosote, but in my hidden areas, in my staging, in my Helix, I need big old sheets of the stuff, and I don't care anything about a roadbed profile. So if I just Google Valero and buy it in big old sheets, I think you might really be onto something, especially for the application of big staging yards.
I'll email you the, or post it up online after the hangout tonight when I go sit down on the computer. I'll send the name of the company that was out of Michigan that I got these samples from. I looked on eBay and I looked at a bunch of different ones, and they pretty much look like the company I'd want to do business with, not only price, but, you know, they're good small company, not a eBay Chinese knockoff seller, you know.
Yeah, some fly-by-night guys. See, I really don't want to use like regular Midwest cork or something like that in my staging yard because I don't want to have to build all the little turnout, cut all the little turnouts. I want a roll sheet, and I've done that before.
Yeah, that's perfect. You can get them pretty damn big.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly. I mean, 2-foot wide staging, buy a big old roll of it and cut it, and then the scrap down one side, make a section like for my helix where I need. Again, I don't need angled edges, so it's perfect for me. And if I used Homosote, I'd cut straight. If I cut Homosote, I'd cut straight edges on it and fill it in with the paper mache like you're talking about. Now, I cut my Homosote with a beveled edge on it, so you know and that works fine with Homosote. But yeah,
I don't think I'd ever do. I like your idea. I was thinking I'm probably never going to do Homosote again because it's just. The quality has gone down so much, it's just wavy now. I mean, it's not consistent thickness. You get these little bulges and valleys in it that,
yeah,
you know, to use it as a big sheet, just in my whole staging yard, I did that way. And I've got some high spots and low spots just because of inconsistency in the sheets.
Well, and the guy me and Johnny visited, we visited the guy's layout down in Georgia when I went down there. Me and Johnny did, and he had used Homosote for his big areas and had such poor, you know, exactly what you're talking about. And I experienced the same thing, that waviness and a lot of little holes and indentations in it.
Right.
And it's kind of a problem. Now, I have worked a way around that for my particular application and the way that I handle a track, but Homosote can be tough to deal with. And he had a real problem around the turntable. And he was talking about using drywall, using drywall some, because it's perfect, it's very dimensionally stable, and it holds spikes pretty well. So,
but you know, I think this would be a great replacement for that because you can actually get it in 1/2 inch. You know, you get it all different thicknesses. You can get up to 4 inches thick if you want.
Wow. Huh.
I had the same problem with my Homosote too, as far as the variances and thicknesses with everything.
Yeah, and I use vinyl compound. If it's really bad, I'll use a little vinyl compound to fill a gap in. But the way I handle a track where I don't spike, where I adhere it down and use contact cement, I will push the rail into the ties and pull the ties up a little bit and let them float until the ballast secures them kind of floating in the air. But if you lay all your rail and then spike to it and have to sand it and get it right, that's really hard with modern Homosote. Now, 20 years ago, that wasn't much of a problem.
Now, what's that final compound that you're talking about?
It's what they use under linoleum, and it's flexible and doesn't break out of the gaps, and I haven't seen it impact the sound deadening properties of it. So it's gosh, what's they call it? Vinyl floor sealer, but it's what they use under linoleum. So if you go to a hardware store and ask them for a vinyl floor compound like what you'd use under linoleum, they should probably know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I think it's called vinyl floor sealer or vinyl floor filler. But and I buy it dry and mix it, and anyway, it's soft enough. I think you can spike through it, and again, I glue, so it's not a big deal. But I think you could spike through it. It'd be a little tougher than going straight into Homosote, but I didn't put it on too thick anywhere either. And normally,
no, this isn't one of them things where you're going to make me be the guinea pig of it first, are you?
No, I use it. No, I've used it. Works fine. I mean, again, I don't spike anymore, so I haven't spiked through it, but you could spike through it, no problem. But I'm not afraid to make you the guinea pig on things, but in this particular case, I've already...
Yeah, I know you've already made me the guinea pig on a few different things.
Yeah, I guinea pig things all the time too. I'm not afraid to experiment either, but I sure ain't afraid to talk you into experimenting either. So
Yeah, gee, thanks.
yeah. Hey, I'll warn you though. Anytime you're guinea pigging something, I'll warn you about it.
I see Mr. Hawk's still a little weathering over there, so I kind of presented him for right now. Gotta watch him.
Yeah, man, pan pastels are awesome.
I got a question on that foam. Now, with that coming in different thicknesses, what if you used it instead of the foam board? So if you got an inch foam board down, what would be the difference if you just went with that and put an inch thick of that down?
I don't know about using it as a replacement for scenery contours, but that's my.
Yeah, it depends on what you have under. I mean, you have a plywood base underneath it.
Yeah, with plywood underneath it and laying that stuff, just covering everything with it.
Yeah, it would probably be more expensive than buying. You're talking like the 1-inch pink foam, and
Yeah.
then using this in sound foam instead.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to cost you. Cost you a lot more money to do in the same area.
And are you going to try to cut into it for scenery undulation and rolling hills and stuff? That'd be a little tough.
No, I could use the foam for that kind of stuff, but I'm just talking about for a base all the way around.
Yeah, I don't know if you need an inch of it. I mean, 3/16 or a quarter inch of it's probably everything you need for sound ending. And then the only benefit to using foam, 1 inch, 2 inch, whatever you're using, is the ability to cut into it. So if you don't need to cut into it, there's no point in putting 2-inch foam down. The only benefit to having 2 inches of foam on a layout is so you can cut into it.
Right, which I need to because I'm going to have rivers in it. And
yeah, me too. All of my scenery is under and above the track, and it's everything has undulations in my scenery. None of mine is there's not a flat section on it, and I didn't build it as flat sections to cut into. It's all built in layers.
Yeah, on my last layout, I just built with frame up, put a little bit of 3-ply down, just so that I could screw electronics to underneath. Then I put inch foam on top of that. Lightweight, strong, didn't flex at all.
And there's some benefit to using wood structure, but my layout is just styrofoam. There's nothing else to it. Styrofoam. And Homoso laid on top of it. But there's not a stick of wood anywhere.
So, Jim, how's that mold coming? I guess Jim stepped out.
I seen earlier today some of them he had taken out of the molds, and they look identical to the original. They're perfect. He done a really good job with it.
Yeah.
See if I can. I just cut another set of these joiners. I don't know if it's going to show or not, but see if I get a nice white background for it or something. Come on, focus. Now, if you can see, I cut a little slot in the middle of those 2 joiners.
Yeah.
In the end. Once I cut these off, then I'll put them on, and I'll show you how I do it once I get to that point. But I gotta fire up the Dremel, so I'm gonna mute this.
All right.
I've done it similar to what you're doing before. Take a 100 rail joiner, put it on, solder it a little bit, then flatten that end out with pliers, and then solder my 83 right on top of that flattened out piece. So similar to what you're doing.
Yeah, I thought about doing that, but I don't know how you would hold the rail right where you want it, just sitting on top of the joiner, you know. I thought that might get to be an issue getting good alignment.
It is, and it is. You got to flatten it out, then hold it on, and then put a little solder on there, and then hold it in place with a pair of pliers across the 2 rails, across the 183, hold it in alignment, and then hit it with a solder iron a little bit to soften the solder. And, I mean, I've done it that way a few times, and it's worked okay. but whatever, whatever works. But years ago when 83 first come out, I wouldn't buy the transition track for nothing, and it didn't fit, couldn't put it on curves, etc. And I was using, adjusting from 100 to 83 in a lot of places back then.
Well, they make a transition joiner too, but
Yeah.
why run out and buy it and make it in 30 seconds?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I bought some of those transition
minute here while I make
joiners.
some noise, and I'll come back and show you when it's done.
Transition joiners not work, Phil?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be.
It was better off just to put because I'm using code 100, to take the 100 joiners and slide it halfway on and take a pair of needle nose pliers and mash it flat and then put the code 83 on top and solder it to it.
Yeah, that's the way I've always done it, and it ain't like it's my idea. I mean, that's what somebody else done it,
Right.
and it worked. So
I probably got the idea from you when we were talking about it, 6 months ago.
yeah, I've done it a lot, and I can't remember where. It's just one of those ideas I picked up a long time ago, and I'm sure I stole it off somebody else, and I'm sure there's a lot of people doing it that way. But
And if you don't have can you hear me good?
Yeah.
If you don't have a soldering gun, they do sell a small piece of straight track that graduates from 83 up to 100. So you connect one end to your 83, and then you connect the other end to 100, and that's perfect.
yeah, I never liked the extra rail joints. Is always something bothered me. But my biggest complaint with using that is you couldn't use it if you were transitioning in a curve. Was always my biggest problem. And I just wanted to be able to transition anywhere. And anyway, it works. And if you want to buy it and just lay track down, especially if you're using sectional or whatever, then the transition track is fine. It's perfect. But
Well, it's the easy, lazy man way out. I didn't need it, but I just happened to notice it sell it.
Are you about ready, about ready to unmold that, Jim?
We can try.
I bought one of those transition tracks to go on to the turntable. The turntable is code 83. I had to have something, but I didn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, I had a couple of those that I got with some other stuff that I bought in a big lot, and they were the Walthers ones, and I use Atlas tracks, so the ties weren't quite the same, and the height was off a little on even if you don't count the fact that it's 83 to 100. But all they really were was, if you look at them carefully, they've got half the length of it is code 100 and half the length is 83, and in the middle it's kind of like soldered resistance soldered together. It doesn't really taper from one to the other. It's actually two separate pieces of rail joined in the middle, and then it was like a 6-inch long section or something.
Yeah, Jim's molding that bridge abutment.
Oh, cool.
Can you hear me over here, John? Is this camera?
Yeah.
I'm on the, my headset's died, so I'm getting echo out of me. Let me know because I'm kind of on the camera.
Yeah. No, I got an echo with is Curtis tonight.
I don't know if you're noticing, it's taking me a little bit to get this up. I can't see my screen.
Yeah.
Hoping you can see what I'm doing. There we go. I got it to pop. It wasn't too hard, but it was just a little bit of a struggle. Nothing compared to what it was when I was doing it.
The first
First one, yeah. There we go. I over poured a little bit on that corner, but that'll flake off. I'm putting my thumb here on my corners to try to make sure that I support the corners as I peel back. That one's fitting a little tight there. There it goes.
Yep. It's like another good one.
Yeah, another good one. I'm liking this way better than those ones that I used from Woodland Scenics.
Yeah. Whoa, stop. You want to spray your master with that flower spray and
Well, no, I just did it that one time. Is all I did.
oh, okay.
They're coming out good, but I am going to spray.
Yeah. I was fixing to say spray your mow with a Windex.
That might be why I had such a hard time getting it to peel back a little. But I just spray it. I don't know if you can you see me?
Yeah. You always see it.
Yeah, I'm just shaking off the excess. Nah, I gotta go get some more Watia, some more H2O.
Doing that. Phil, is that chalk or paint you're using there?
What are you referring to, Andy? The color of the building?
Yeah, no, you got the palette of colours next year.
Oh, that's not Phil. That's Hawks. That's those pan pastels. They
Oh.
using the weather is model with.
Are you using regular plaster of Paris or are you using a hydrocal?
Regular plaster Paris. I couldn't find any hydrocal when I looked. The Menards and the Home Depot in my area didn't have any. In fact, I checked 2 Home Depots. And when I asked them for hydrocal, they didn't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah, I buy it at Hobby Lobby. Get those 40% off coupons. It ends up costing me about $6.50, $7 a box.
Yeah, but that's for like a 1 quart box, 1 quart container.
Half-gallon container.
It's a half gallon. I paid $12, and I think I got like a 40-pound bag of plaster.
Yeah, this is probably about 3 pounds, maybe.
Right. The 4-pound box of plaster, I think, was like $7. And for 12, I got, maybe it's a 20-pound bag. I'll have to look.
Y'all look like that's drying this fast.
Well, I hurried too. I was kind of going slow before. Alrighty, another one done. I can go rinse some stuff off. Pretty simple, pretty easy.
Yeah, got enough for your river rocks?
Yeah, I do. Let's see if I can pour some real quick. I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me, John.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that's what Phil's supposed to do, but he keeps forgetting. I think he's just getting older.
He's busy.
Oh, is
Hey, now.
he?
We can't remember to do everything for you, Jim. And when you get old age, I ain't going to help you that much at all. You have to get your wife to help you go to the bathroom.
$20.
This would probably work if I let it set up a little bit more so it doesn't spread out as much. It's kind of spreading on me. But it'll make some undulations underneath the water. It'll look good. Maybe.
Yeah, you see Luke Townsend, or Luke Towan rather. He pours a bunch of plaster out on a sheet, lets it dry, then breaks it up, and then throws it in a little jar and tumbles it around, makes his own talus rocks, which I use decomposed granite for doing that natural rocks. But the idea of having plaster that you can color is pretty neat. So, I mean, any plaster you have, anytime you have extra plaster like that, or plaster of Paris, pour it out, make you nice little rocks or something. That seems like a good idea to me. Luke Tower showed it off in a little video he did that in.
That all poured now, Jim?
Yeah. You ready, Chris?
Yeah, I'm ready if you guys are. I don't want to.
I got you.
What?
Yeah, I got you presented.
All right, here's put it full screen so I can see what I'm showing you. Trying to see the height difference.
Yeah, you might want to back up just a little bit. So I won't to focus yet.
You can do it.
You can do
Once you
it.
stop moving the camera, it should focus.
If you look at the back rail, you can kind of see the height difference.
Yeah.
And over here is the code 83, and over here is the code 100. What I do is I'm gonna just try and set this camera down so you can watch me do it. But it's pretty easy. Camera to stand up first.
There you go.
Just take your needle nose pliers, put it under the rail on the low side and above the rail on the high side where you want to bend it up, and just give it a little twist. Just pushes up that 83 just a little bit, like that. And then it's level. And then you just grab it side to side and kind of squeeze it a little till it lines up side to side. When you twist a little bit, it can seem to want to push it off left to right too, because you cut through the sides of the joiner.
Yeah.
That's all you really got to do. Just give it a little bend up, and it bends on the bottom when it feels nice and smooth across the two of them. And hit it with the soldering gun. Just make sure it's also lined up, left to right, not just top to bottom. And I've got these handy little weights I'll just throw on there and hit it with the solder gun. They work as a countersink and they hold it perfectly in place where I want it to. They're a heat sink, I should say, not a countersink. Somewhere I can get this camera where you can actually see what I'm doing.
Yeah, turn it down a little bit, because, yeah, there you go, right there.
There.
Yeah, right there, that's perfect.
That's pretty good right there, so I'll just go grab my solder. You're not going to get to see the solder because I'm going to solder it on my side, but get it with a little flux first. Now I fly against convention a little bit when I solder rail joints. Most people say you'll use nothing more than a 30 watt. Well, I use this big old 100 watt. Gets it done in a hurry. It doesn't melt ties if you use some heat sinks.
Yeah.
Now if I'm soldering feeders, then I use a small, 30 watt or whatever.
Well, as long as you're in and out fast enough, it really don't matter.
Well, and you get in and out in a real hurry with this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing ever goes good when you're, trying to do it on camera. I'll turn it around and show it to you when I'm done with the other one here. Just want to make sure that height is still good. Line up left to right. There.
Now you did that by taking the tie, cutting a V in the center of the tie, putting the one tie on the code 100, smashing down tie for the code 83, setting it on top, lining it up, and then soldering it all.
No, actually, I did it a little different. What I did was I cut a notch through the top of the joiner in the middle, so that all that was left was the bottom of the joiner.
Yeah, we're looking at turn now, Chris. There you go.
And as you can see, that joins up real nice now. But what I did was cut the rail joiner, cut a notch in it, put half on each side, and once they were connected on both, I just pried up. And because only the bottom of the joiner was there, you can pry it up a little bit till the tops of the rails are level.
Got it. Yeah,
that little, the way you were talking about, I thought about doing that, but it's like, how am I going to hold that joiner just to the bottom of the rail? This way at least it can clamp onto the rail, and you can still bend it a little bit because only the bottom of the joiner is left in that one spot. So.
Yeah, well, that looks, a lot. What you just did is a lot cheaper than. I think I paid almost $10 that little piece of transition track.
Yeah, and if Atlas made one, because I'm using Atlas track, maybe I would have considered it, but I do actually have a few on hand, but they're Walthers, and the ties don't match either the code 83 or the code 100 in Atlas, so you're going to have this one little section about 6 inches long of ties that don't match anything. Not that it matters a whole lot here because I'm going from 83 to 100 where it's just going off the layout here. Two types of ties is bad enough. You don't want to mix a third in there. That's just one of those anal retentive properties I have sometimes.
That's crazy. Don't be like that. None of the rest of us are like that.
All right, now where did I put my joiner? There we go. That's officially the last piece of track on the Helix. You guys were here to see it. The bottom is done, and this was just the last of the top. All I got to do is put screws in. Tell you what, these steel blocks, I got these from a guy who's a machinist. They're really nice. You get this bigger one like this, it holds your track down. You know, even if you bend it where you want it and just set that on there, holds it right in place. The two smaller ones work great to hold it in place and act as a heat sink when you're soldering.
And I tell you, 1 pound cans of vegetables or Campbell's soup works great too.
That's a good idea.
And use the soup when you're doing your soldering. You can help warm your lunch up, you know. Use it as a heat sink and it'll be warm by the time you get done soldering.
Dual purpose. I like that.
Yeah, the guys on here was teasing me because they'd see me on the track and we had 3 cases of vegetables or Campbell's soup lined up across my track.
But it sits right in there, it sits right in between the rails and don't roll off. I've seen a few other people do the same thing.
Got a 6-piece soldering iron now. Just knocked it off. My foot got caught on the cord. I dropped it knocked it on the floor and broke the plastic housing. Like $5 cheap Chinese high-power soldering iron.
You know, I've used a whole lot of those guns in my life. I don't think I ever used one that housing was not broke on. So,
you know, the funny part is I actually have a Weller that's just like that, and I prefer this cheap Chinese one.
yeah, I got a pretty nice soldering iron that's selectable, and if I'm doing something serious, I really like it. It's a really nice iron. But I've got like a $20 45-watt Weller. Didn't have a base. I had to buy a separate stand for it and everything. Just a cheap soldering iron. It's my favorite one. It's hot. It gets hot fast. There's a little light on it, and it beats my $80 or $90 selectable soldering iron. Most of the time, I prefer it. So money don't make something good.
That's right. Let's see if it still works. The light goes on. That's a good sign. Still works. Just gotta remember not to stick my finger in that hole.
Yeah, you probably.
Yeah.
You only do it once.
Well, unless you're hard-headed. Like somebody we know that kept snapping himself while he built a static grass applicator.
So we had, back when I was in foundry maintenance, we had a new electrician. And one of the electricians was training him and told him to, probe a wire in a panel, sticks a screwdriver in there and goes, "Yeah, I got shocked." And he goes, "No way, not possible. I got this thing locked out. Try it again." So the dummy sticks it right back there and gets nailed again. Lesson number one.
Yeah, don't believe anybody, especially when you're new on the job. But I haven't got my applicator, my static applicator directly. I've got a little bit through some glue, the wet, where it's wet on the surface, but not enough to really, just enough to let me know I was alive. But my wife only got zapped once by it, but boy, that was a good one when she did.
And I'm here to attest. I was in the Hangout when she did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad everybody was in here. That was funny.
I didn't know those things could fly like that.
Oh yeah, I'm just glad I wasn't in the way of it. She didn't just drop it; she slung it. But it's got that. I mean, that what's that thing cost? $3, $2? It's got a little bite to it.
When I first got into fly swatters, I had my son stick his finger in there. I said, now stick it all the way in there. Make sure you touch that inside screen. And when he did, I hit that button. Man, did he jump. I had told him, I said, if you wore tennis shoes, you'd be grounded. No. I said, yeah, I promise. Put his tennis shoes in. I said, now try it. But yeah, but I know I'm a bad dad, huh?
I was curious if it's just as damaging, just as part of a hit, just through the screen as it comes, or whether tearing it apart and making a static grass applicator and putting it on a smaller screen and all that, if that made it worse, but I guess not.
No, the voltage stays the same.
Yeah, boy, it's got a bite to it. I mean, got her good. I haven't found a way to talk her into trying it again though.
Just so the any viewers that's watching heard me say that, I want to make sure I make it the point my son is in his 30s. I wasn't doing this to my, a 7 or 8 year old child.
But Andy, why did someone walk up behind you with a cattle prod and that's ripped?
It's about the same effect, yeah. But it ain't exactly a taser. I mean, I haven't been tased either, but you see people on TV get tased and stuff, and it's not hardly a taser, but a taser knocks somebody out. This thing just makes somebody mad. But
Well, either one of them, I can't get hit by.
no, you got that's what Jimmy said that one time. He said, I paid $40,000 for my pacemaker, and it's basically a static grass applicator I could have bought for $2.99. Next time I'm getting it replaced, I'll just take one with me. Here, I want this one instead of that $40,000 one. Save me some money.
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to have to remind myself to take that with me when I see my electrocardiologist. That's going to leave an awful funny pattern underneath my skin, though.
yeah, a big tennis racket looking pattern under your skin.
I remember getting a ink pacemaker. I won't tell you where I got it. We stuck an LED to it. Yeah, that LED blinked for something like 5 years before the battery in the pacemaker went dead.
Huh.
Bill, is your old lady around?
No, she's at work tonight, Jim.
You want to announce what you're going to be swagging with pretty soon?
Swagging with?
Yeah, the swag you bought for your trailer.
I've bought so much stuff here lately, Jim. I'm really not.
I think I called you on the phone.
Oh, yeah, NC DCC system.
Yeah, another guy coming over the dark side.
Yeah, man, I've been tossing that around for over a year and a half, I think, to tell you the truth.
No, I didn't know if you told your old lady yet, so I didn't want to say anything.
Well, I did. I told her that when I got my tax refund this year, that I was spending it on a DCC system and metal wheels. And she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, there's $100. So what are you gonna do with the other?" And I'm like, "No, I get enough trucks or wheels to do 25 cars for $100, basically. And the DCC system's a couple $100, and then I'm gonna have to buy some new, at least one new locomotive that's got sound and DCC, so I can at least operate with one engine. Well, what about all those other engines you got? Well, I'm gonna have to convert them to DCC then, or sell them and buy new ones. Yeah.
My vote.
She told me I was number one again.
She tell you, or did she show you?
She showed me I was number one again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am supposed to take her somewhere probably with, that money. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, do like I do and take her to Mickey D's and pull in and let her buy out the dollar menu. I'm serious.
I know you are.
This is all I can afford. Pick off the dollar menu. You get 2 items. And by the way, I brought you a bottle of pop, so don't worry about
Yeah, you don't have to get a combo. I hear you. Actually, the other day, which I thought was kind of humorous, we had Chinese food at one of the local Chinese restaurants last night. And she left a $5 tip, and we ate off the buffet. So all the lady did was bring us water. And I said, a $5 tip for bringing you water? I said, well, I want to bring you water for $5 a pop. She goes, okay, I'll let you do that. So this morning, she asked for coffee. And after I handed it to her, I kind of stood there with my hand out. And she kind of chuckled and got up and gave me a $5 bill. And I said, man, I am going to have me a model railroad empire as much coffee and water that you drink, She goes, oh, no, that was just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
Well, next time I stop by there, I'm going to ask her if she wants a glass of water.
You do that.
I'm sure I'll get the I'm number one answer.
Yeah. Exactly.
Take her a 20-litre bucket of water.
Well, I am looking at my very first new boxcar that's not a AccuRail or a Athearn Blue box. I really don't know if it's worth the extra $20 or not. Maybe. I mean, this one came with metal trucks, and I guess it's got this little, can't tell if it's a see-through step or not back here. Maybe.
That's an Athearn ready to roll, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the shaker boxes, the Athearn blue box shakers?
Right.
What you put together? Okay.
Yeah, that's what all my other ones have been.
Are the couplers body mounted?
Yes, they are. They're body-mounted couplers. I don't know what kind of couplers they are. Whatever Athearn uses. Let's see. It just says coupler.
Yeah, Mr. Hawk's putting the details on top of his silos now. It's really looking good.
Doors don't slide. Boy, I don't know, man. My blue box doors slide.
I tell you, people pick on me because I like those Bachman Silver Series cars. But I think they're a pretty nice car for the money.
Yeah. Well.
What's everybody's opinion on the difference between body mount and truck mount on the couplers?
Use all of one type. That's my motto.
Don't use truck mount, period. All body mount, all the way.
Yeah, you'll find on truck mounts, if you're backing a long train, you'll start derailing. If they're body mounts, you can back a long train up pretty decent. And it's more prototypical. Have it on the body.
I'm not sure what mine are. It's since I put them away to build this layout. I don't know what they are. I think the majority of them are the Walters Proto and the Iron Mountains.
Well, those should all be body mount.
Yeah, they'll all be body mount.
I know the passengers, the Athearn passengers, I bought on truck mount. Now somebody said that was because they're so long, out the turns.
Yeah, there are some even other, Walters and stuff, longer ones. This one doesn't have them, but some of them are still. Occasionally you get a truck mounted one, but they've gone more to these swing couplers now that the whole box swings inside of here. And still that way it stays body mounted. Got a big pivot for the whole box. It's inside of another box. But there's still some of these I have that longer 89 footers and stuff that are truck mounted.
Oh, man. Freaky.
What's that, Phil?
I tried this new paint. My camera here. Can you see that?
Oh, the crackle paint?
Well, it's not supposed to be crackle.
Oh.
It was supposed to be chalk paint. And I just didn't, I was being lazy. I didn't want to get out my airbrush to paint this light gray, so I had bought a can of this chalky finish in this light gray for this loading dock, and I hit it and it crackled.
I think that's because you sprayed it on the plastic, not the wood finish.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah,
I don't think that's painted for plastic. It's for metal and wood.
Oh.
some things don't adhere right to plastic.
It would be cool for an old beat up road or something. But it crackled on the paint and on the tape too. Huh.
Or if you'll be able to get that off and repaint it then.
Well, that'll be the bottom side of the dock.
Yeah.
There's
How you doing, dude?
There'll be the other side. I'll have to Interesting.
Mr. Dude Lindler. We don't see
Right.
you, but happy to hear from you.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, like he's still having internet problems where he can't use the camera. But he could come on the panel and talk.
Yeah, you could. We miss him. I miss my little buddy.
Yeah, he hasn't been around about 6 months.
I walked away. Who's the little buddy we're talking about?
Dude.
Oh yeah, that little buddy. I miss my little buddy. Yep. Dude, if you're watching this, we miss you, little buddy. Quit fishing for a while. Come hang out. Little buddy.
Yeah. Alright, this ain't Gilligan's Island.
Oh, this says right here, wood,
Linderland's.
metal, plastic, laminate, wicker, ceramic, glass, and more.
Huh.
Some of plastic or styrene is in the and more category?
No, it says wood, metal, plastic, laminate, wicker, ceramic, glass, and then it says and more.
Oh yeah, alright.
So,
I wonder if there was any oils. Well, you said it to the tape as well, right?
yeah, I did it to the tape too.
I wonder if you don't have a bad batch.
Yeah, I got a bad can of Krylon gray primer that spewed out. It looked like you were painting on like water drops on a wet surface. It just dropleted up like that.
I was using a can of the primer here the other day, and it's still half a can, and it just quit spraying. I mean, it's like the aerosol ran out.
I got one of those.
Yeah, dude said you guys are funny. Yeah, got him, little man. Little buddy.
Well,
Oh,
we didn't
serious?
calling him. We went to calling him Gilligan or nothing. So, little buddy, he is our resident fisherman. But yeah, I got a can of primer, a full can that will not spray. Not, of course, if I go do it right now, it's gonna spray my face full. But I mean, it won't spray nothing. And I'm gonna take it back. I mean, it's only a few dollars, but I'm still gonna take it back and get me another can for it, just because it makes me mad.
Right. I hear
Hey,
you.
Jim. Hey, Jim.
Yeah, I see it. Yes.
You're funny, little Jim.
Back when I was a kid and we used to build models, instead of buying the expensive hobby paint, you go buy a big rattle can and you wrap a rag around an old nail and then just tap it through the side of the can, bleed off the pressure, and then pour the paint out and use it with your airbrush. It spins perfectly for airbrushing.
I've been trying to decant or whatever spray paint. These Rust-Oleum camouflage colors or whatever are awesome. You know, I mean, everybody uses these. They're awesome. And I use that dark color of this for my track work. And
I don't use it.
what? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I thought so. See, everybody uses that stuff. It's awesome. They are the flattest paints I've ever seen. They are flat, and it feels like they dry midair on their way to getting to whatever surface you're spraying them on, because it's dry in right after you paint it. And I paint my rails with it, and I love it. And I need to decant. Yep, spray my track with it, and I pre-spray my rails before I put them down. That color. I need to be able to decant that paint so that I can touch up places I need to touch up, and so I can paint the fish plates where I join rails, the bolt plates where I join rails, because I had to find a color. I found a color that is close. Vallejo German German black brown or something from Vallejo. It's close, but
No, just do that. All you do is mix it up real good, shake it like you were gonna spray it, so that you mix it up real good, and then you just basically just take a big old rag and fold it over about 10 times and just pop a nail through the side of it and hold that rag there while it's bleeding off the pressure, so don't just let it bleed out slowly, like when you crack a soda can.
yeah.
Don't just pull it out and let it spray. Just pop the nail in and let it bleed around the side of that nail real slow until the pressure's gone, and you pour it out, and you got a half a pint of good pre-thin paint ready to go in your airbrush.
Pour out that nail hole. Take the nail out and pour it out the nail hole.
How about taking the can new, turn it upside down, and spray the air out of it, get your pressure out of there. That's before you use the nail.
That's what I was thinking. Just get the air out of it upside down, and then just open it up.
Just like as if after you spray it a little bit, you turn it upside down and clean the nozzle, and you get nothing but air. So just hold it upside down and let it spray nothing but the air out
until it's out of aerosol. Yeah.
Right.
And then you could punch a hole in it and drain it or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, you pour it in a jar and cap it and keep it for as long as you need it.
Yeah. How much paint you think comes out of one of those?
Oh, quite a bit.
6 ounces, I think, is what most cans are.
They're how much?
4 or 6 ounces. Look on the side of the can. It tells you how many ounces. Down at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm looking. Oh, okay. Sorry, 12 ounces.
12 ounces. Okay.
All right. Well, that makes sense. That is quite a bit of paint. All right, I'll give that a go. I just kind of assumed hitting a aerosol can with a nail would be messy. I can see that going.
You still got to get the paint out, so.
Little Muddy! Hey, dude.
Make sure when you do that, Andy, that you
Video.
yes, please video it.
I'll give my wife the chance to video it. She probably dropped the phone laughing at me, but yeah, I'll video that. When the weather's better, we'll go out and live shoot that. That'll be great. But I've been wanting to do that for a while, so.
We see Andy coming back with a real dark tan. We know it didn't work well.
Yeah, it might have worked. He got decanted, but I just got enough paint that I can wipe off my forehead to use.
Hey, dude, how you doing, brother?
The dude.
Yeah. Well, I got to blast off, guys. Dude, good seeing you or not seeing you, whatever. Seeing your name.
Take care, Chris.
Yeah,
Hi,
you guys
Chris.
take it easy.
Hey,
Thank you
Chris.
for being on the panel.
Yeah, it seemed a little nuts just drive a nail through a can, but I can see how that works, especially bleeding the air off from it, because we used to.
Well, you want to do you don't want to just drive it in there. You just want to do enough to give it a puncture.
Yeah, just pop it a little bit, let the nail go in. I and a little finish nail or something, you know. I mean, I'm not going to drive a log cabin spike into it or something, but we used to do that with hairspray cans and drive a nail through the top of it. Take the top off and drive a nail straight down through the valve in the top of it, and then flip it over and light it. You could launch them, you know, build a little cone on the top of it, and you could flip it over and light it and let go, and that sucker would fly until it blew up.
Why don't you just hold the can upside down and press the nozzle to work?
That's what we just said.
Well, letting the aerosol off that way and then poking a hole in it to get the paint out might work. I've tried spraying it. Oh, that's cool.
Back up a little bit, Jim. Back up a little bit.
And that totally looks like a little creek rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll make a nice river rock. It's got the flat end, so it looks like it's like a bigger rock that's underneath the sand or something.
Well, it's got a nice, rounded, smooth surface, like the water's been rushing over it for a minute.
And even this would may not look too bad with a spot or two.
Well, they stain easy, you know, and they're, you know, being plaster, they stain them up real easy with a nice brown India ink, and you'd have, and pour some water over them.
Yeah, make up a whole bunch of those, put them in a pill ball. You can go downtown and sell them.
Put little smiley faces on them.
Well, you know, John, even fake drugs is a felony.
Yeah.
Not that I know from experience. I just heard, you know, I've watched Cops a lot, you know.
Let's say you weren't selling them as drugs, selling them as plaster. They're river rocks. I sell river rocks.
Yep.
Yeah, well, if you guys follow that, follow Jim, you ever saw that video where he got arrested for the trees?
Yeah, arrested for motor railroading.
That was an April Fool's joke. That wasn't true life. He had some friends that were cops that helped him out on that.
That's funny, though.
I was real.
Some people thought that was real.
I was one of them. Okay, question. Andy is not in my circle. How do I get to the
Doggone it.
Hangout page to get him into my circle?
You can write on my name down there. There's a little arrow pointing down in the right-hand corner of my little avatar. You can click on that little arrow to give you a little menu. You can click on profile. It'll take you to my profile.
Okay, I have it.
And then if you're so crazy that you're interested in the crazy banter that I spew all the time, you can by all means circle, you know, add me your circle, and I'll do the same. That looks awesome, man. Really, really awesome. You really got to get busy, though. We got a lot of railroads to build on here, brother. You got to get busy.
Well, somebody want to volunteer for an after show?
Wow, is it that late already?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, I can't because I'm having a hard time even connecting. And whoever does it, if I'd appreciate if they'd send me an email with the link. Well, I guess if you post it on the general, I might be able to get in.
Okay. I'll go do one.
All right, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah.
While Phil's doing that, I'll go ahead and get set up here. All right, can y'all see what I'm presenting?
No, not yet. Black screen.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, your avatar.
Huh?
All I see is your YouTube Model Builder's avatar, not the screen.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess I've been bit by Google tonight with no cameras, so you just have to do without the sheet.
Yeah.
All right, Dwight. Appreciate it. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and wind this one up. It's already 12:05. So, Mr. Hawks, if you go check in the YouTube Mall Builders community page, we'll have an after show. You're welcome to join us there, Curtis. Same thing, just normal hangout.
All right, I'll give it a try. And I want to tell Jim, are you making another one now?
Yeah, I've got to do 10 of them, and I've only got 2, 4, 6 done. So.
Well, that last one didn't take very long to harden up.
No, about 45 minutes or 40 minutes or so. That one I took out a little sooner. The flash was still pretty warm and damp, but it held up. I wanted to try it, see if I could get it out of there faster.
Yeah, I'm eating the afternoon.
All right. All right. Want to say keep checking back in on YouTubeMallBuilders.com website for all the latest news and info on the Tuesday night presentations, the EMAG, the live show schedules. The live show is once every month. That's the third Saturday of each month. All the presentations, Tuesday night, Thursday night, and the live show are 9 o'clock Central Time. EMAG comes, then we got the EMAG, oh, lost my place. And the EMAG is monthly, bi-monthly, which it comes out every other month. We just had it come out about 2 weeks ago. Really good issue. JD and his crew knocked it out of the ballpark again, as Big Bill would say. Still is line. Tuesday night presentations are every other week now. The next one is going to be April 12th, the 12th of April. So you have to check schedule, see what that one's going to be about. And then you have the Thursday general hangout each week as well. You can go to the website, sign up for the EMAG. That way you get an email notifying you when the magazine's out. You can download it. It's a PDF, read it on pretty much anything you've got, media, computer, tablet, whatever. I want to say thank you for participating in tonight's hangout. I want to thank everybody on the panel for being here. Thank everybody in the Q&A for watching the show tonight again. Hope it was interesting for you. We had quite a bit going on. Jim pouring his bridge abutments. Mr. Hawks has been working on his concrete building there, doing a little weathering on some final details he's put up on top of the silos. Phil's working on his distillery. So with that said, appreciate you being here tonight, and we'll see you next Thursday night, same time, same channel. Y'all have a good weekend.
You